listening to a recording of a Professor Potke, I believe is his name, and the Bible is literature. And I was especially interested in his take on the use of icons and idols in the various interpretations of the Bible, the various sects that use the contradictions found in the Bible to justify or deny the use of icons or images in the Bible or in their churches. And something that was brought up was the difference in the Islamic faith, in that the Quran forbids art, and that's one of the reasons, or forbids imagery of any kind representing God, images of God. So nature and man, of course, are obvious candidates for this verboten state. I got thinking about that as it relates to my experiences with Islamic students and what I perceive to be their lack of creativity in the visual arts. And it occurred to me that, yeah, they're not going to have any practice in drawing. They're not going to have any practice in photo manipulation. They're not going to have any practice in representing ideas visually, because their training forbids them, their religion forbids them to draw. And I began to think about that, how that extends into, or what would extend into, the arts, of course, are destroyed, because so many of the arts are graphical. And then got into the sciences. How do you draw, for example, the anatomy of a human body, or the anatomy of an insect or a mammal? How do you conduct biological observations of the world around you if you cannot represent the world around you in anything more than words? Further to that point, if you are relegating yourself to only words that are found in the Quran, which is not unusual among the more stricter holders of the faith. So that one prohibition, and strictly held to, in terms of not allowing or to forbid individuals of the faith to represent the world around them graphically, basically kills off your arts and your natural sciences. And I would argue as well, probably a good measure of any kind of creative thought, because humans are not very good at holding abstractions in their head for very long, and we're also not very good at remembering. Probably one of the reasons why the call to prayer 5 times a day is essentially just a repetition of the surahs, I believe is the name, surah or su, of the Quran. It's just a repetition for the illiterate. Maybe not so many illiterates as there were 50 years ago, but that repetition serves a fundamental purpose, in so much that it gets everybody together, to organize them into a meaningful and controlled group, so that the state and the community knows where everybody is at any one time. As well, the repetition of the prayers obviously is to communicate the story as related by Muhammad in the Quran. over and over and over again, and in that repetition, you create the faithful, so that they too can quote the words of the prophet, and through the prophet, the words of God. But again, that banishment of the image has probably done more to stifle the arts and sciences, and to a certain extent the philosophy, the development of philosophy in the Islamic faith, and probably anything else. I'm not an expert, but these are my conjectures.